This is the God Chord. If you can find an example of this exact chord in real published sheet music, I will give you $100. Jump to the timestamp in the description for the full rules. I first played this chord in this recording. I didn't plan it. It came to me while I was deep in improvisatory flow. In my improvisations, I love stacking major sixths in first inversion over different roots. I use the melody note as a guide and the bass as different colours. I'm not thinking in functional harmony, I'm thinking in colour and sonority. But this combination, these exact notes, felt different. It felt like one of the most powerful chords I've ever played. I've played it in every position, and B is definitely the most powerful. This chord is tonally ambiguous. It isn't dominant, but it may be able to behave like a magical dominant. It isn't major or minor, but somehow feels like both at the same time. It completely defies categorization. Jazz harmony usually assumes one of three identities: major, minor, or dominant. This chord belongs to none of them. This is a root-defined chromatic sonority. Here's how I use it as a passing/anticipatory chord. Quick story. When I bumped into Jacob Collier out and about, yes, Crocs and all, I told him about this chord. He immediately said, "Oh yeah, the top is a major sixth in first inversion. You can resolve it up a semitone or drop the bass while keeping the upper structure." He worked all of that out in his head, on the spot. Inside this chord, you'll find a tritone, a major sixth in first inversion, a perfect fifth, two minor chords, a major seventh, and one diminished chord. We know that a tritone resolves inward or outward by semitone. The tritone inside this chord is the same tritone found in G7 or D-flat 7. Here are several resolutions that treat those two dominants as five chords. The God chord can be reinterpreted as a tritone resource. So when it resolves the way a tritone substitute would, for example, moving into an altered dominant and then into the tonic, the motion feels completely natural. Not because the chord is dominant, but because its tritone behaves exactly like one. In those moments, it effectively functions as a tritone substitute, supplying dominant tension without ever becoming a dominant chord. But that's only one side of it. When the same sonority resolves directly into the tonic, or into a predominant space without a dominant seventh in between, it stops feeling dominant altogether. Instead, it reads more like a chromatic four-color, something that prepares arrival rather than demands it. There are also moments where it hints at seven-like gravity. Not because it's a true leading tone chord, but because the tritone inside it creates the same inward semitone pull. So the function isn't fixed. The God chord doesn't declare what it is, its resolution decides. The God chord could be categorized as B-flat major 6 in first inversion over B5. Writing out the extensions, B5 flat 3, flat 5, flat 13, add major 7, isn't practical either. Perhaps collectively we must come up with a way to categorize the God chord more practically. What makes this chord hit so hard is that several of its intervals line up with very low integer frequency ratios, the same ratios that define consonants. Low integer ratios mean partial reinforcement in the spectrum. The ear hears that as weight and authority, even when the chord is dissonant overall. Here's the strange part. This chord maximizes harmonic agreement and harmonic disagreement at the same time. Some frequencies lock together. Others are separated by a semitone and actively fight each other. That combination, partial locking plus microconflict, is rare. Most chords lean one way or the other. This one does both. Now here's where the bass matters. If I move the bass note, the math of the chord changes. Not the notes, but which harmonics line up. That's why B feels like the strongest root. The spectrum literally anchors there. And finally, there's a tritone inside this chord that behaves exactly like a dominant tritone. It resolves the same way. It pulls the same way. But there's no dominant chord. Function without the label. Now for the challenge. Find a functional example of this chord exactly as I play it. The first person to find it exactly in that order wins $100. The rules are simple. It must come from a classical or jazz composition written before this video. It must function harmonically. It can't just float by. And it must be clearly emphasized in the music. Comment below. Can you find it? $100 is waiting. Good luck.